Good morning. First of all, let me say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, grandmothers, stepmothers, or whatever other mother you may be. Comes around once a year. But today, besides wishing everyone a happy Mother's Day, I wanted to just draw attention to something that happened on Wednesday when I was doing my Wednesday Norma talks. Now, usually, well, always actually, I record Wednesday's talk because I share things sometimes, and so I use Zoom, my Zoom room for that. And normally, if I mess up really badly, or we might say, or really mess up, what I do is stop it and redo it because it's not live; it's live to tape, so to speak, and then we upload it. This last Wednesday, that didn't happen. I was in quite a ways into my talk when I suddenly realized I had made a huge mistake. And if you watch Wednesday's talk, you'll see that I had was working on number nines. And for some reason, when I was putting the symbology out to take a picture, photograph, so I could put it up on the screen and share all the number nines, I had messed up. I had the devil instead of the moon. Now, they're both emotional symbols, but they both have a very different outlook in the sense of the moon is always not as obvious, and it's where we make often in our subconscious mind, our emotions leak out into different ways of perceiving things. And the symbol is very clear on that. That we need to really be clear what we are wanting to do. Now, what happened was I had the devil sitting up there in my picture, and all of a sudden I realized, oh my goodness, this is the wrong symbol. Normally, what I would do was close it down, redo everything, and start from the beginning of that talk about number nines, which is always very interesting. Now, number nine number is an interesting number in every which way, shape, or form. So why did I do that? Why did I keep going? And actually, at the end of it, I wondered, how come I get going? That's not quite what I usually do if I, really make something glaring. And then I realized we all make mistakes. We've always say something or do something, and I made lots of mistakes in my life in many ways. And so, how do we handle that? Sometimes we say words, sometimes we say act or do actions, I should say. And then we look back and think, what did I do that for? That was uncalled for or was not necessary. And so what begins to happen very often is that we beat ourselves up mentally. We beat ourselves up because we weren't, quote, perfect. And it gave me an opportunity now to explain that we are all going to make mistakes. So what do we do about it? It's called self-forgiveness. And instead of living in regret or guilt, which often I see in people's readings, people carry things for years and years because they messed up something or they didn't do something, and you replay it in your mind over and over. Well, I could have done this, or I could have done that. I could have done something different. The need to realize is that I don't think there is a person that hasn't had a regret or even a guilt about something that they've done. Or if they could have a replay, they would have handled it or done differently. So the important thing here is to recognize everyone makes a mistake at some point of time. But how big is your heart in forgiving that? How big is your own heart for yourself? But how much about the people that maybe your words hurt, or you with often I'm a chatterbox and a talker, and there have been times when I've thought, oh, I could have said that a little differently. But I've learned over time, if you pack everything like a knapsack on your back, all it does is it makes you smaller. It doesn't leave room for being bigger. Learning how to apologize was something that I had to learn. Learning how to say I'm sorry. Learning how to go back and say something. And very often, now whether people lied, I'm not sure, but very often when I go back, I say, I'm really jeepers, I'm sorry about blah, blah, whatever it may have been. What happens is that most people, some of them just laugh it off. It was all in my head. It was all in my awareness of what I was doing. But it's like learning how to proceed ahead and not carry it on yourself. I mean, there were times when I could look back and I could count all the things that I have done incorrectly over the years, and they were all there. And then finally I said, this is not good. And you could tell by what I was learning and what I was getting that when you carry things and they're not resolved within you, at least within you, then they add up. And it's really important to recognize that you don't carry that. Yes, on Wednesday, I did a screw up. On Wednesday, I could have stopped everything, gone back, begun again. No one would know. But, sometimes in the bigger picture, it's really important if you're a teacher, as I am, of how to handle life, how to deal with life from a metaphysical point of view, self-forgiveness. To forgive yourself right away, number one. Number two is to let it go. Not sort of keep going back and thinking, that little old self-beat that goes on, like, why did I do that for? How come I did that? Surely I could have done this. I could have done that. And so we replay the scenes over and over and over without clearing whatever it is we feel. And usually it's regret or guilt. Those two things are usually the most. So on this Mother's Day, let us let go of anything that we feel guilty or regretting from. It doesn't matter if you're a mother or not. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, all the other little pronouns now. It doesn't matter. It's the essence of you that is inside. It is the essence of you, of what you're creating. And I'll guarantee there's no one that lives their life that doesn't have a regret, or there is not something that they feel guilty about. And some of those things linger for many, 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 many years. It's like having to go back and clean up sometimes when we get older. Because when we're living fast, busy lives, like in our 30s and 40s in particular, sometimes it begins in the 20s, but our 30s and 40s often are very, very busy. And it's like we don't think of going back sometimes. And sometimes I learned how to begin to forgive myself on the run almost. Like, oops, I did that one not as well as I needed to do. And there are many little things that you can carry, but you don't want that knapsack on your back. You want to be clear. You want to be becoming, as they call it, more authentic. And so I want you today and this Mother's Day to, if you watched Wednesday and think, what is she doing? Yeah, I messed up. And it's okay to mess up sometimes. And I apologized for it then. And I immediately had to work on myself a little bit to forgive myself for not really locking everything down and beginning again. But lessons come in weird and wonderful ways. So I want you all to enjoy this day. I don't know whether you're like us, but our weather has become really hot here for us. We went from really cool to hot. So we're adjusting. My God, look, flowers look wonderful. It's like spring coming big time. Birds singing, looking for mates, delightful. So life is good. Life is great. And I look forward to being back tomorrow night for a mental mind treatment. So if you have anything you want to pray for, then allow yourself to be that. So remember, you can also text me or email me through my webpage, normacowie.com, to tell me what you want. So I hope to see you Monday. If not, that's okay, because I'll be back next Wednesday. New topic, new series. Okay. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.